Hi, it's Andy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the ADK Rock and Metal channel, and today we're going to be looking at Slayer and Repentless.
Got to do it.
Before we do so, let's just do a quick shout out to our today's video sponsor. Okay, so Repentless, this was, obviously, if you don't know who Slayer is, shame on you. But they were a thrash band from the 1980s. Started out, they were part of what we call the Big Four of thrash, alongside Anthrax, Megadeth, and, of course, Metallica. Repentless was their last main single, came out in 2015. It was the first and only one with Gary Holt, because it was off their first album with him, before obviously the band separated, obviously back with a new...
What album was it from?
2015's Repentless.
Oh, right.
This is track number 2, the title track.
It's also their first album with Terry Date as a producer, which is quite interesting for this particular one, because Terry Date's done some phenomenal...
Pantera.
He's done so many of the big bands. So we've also gone all the way, we've watched this video, we're going to play you minute by minute for videos, and then talk about it after each minute. So let's give you the first minute of Slayer and Repentless. First minute in, the first thing I'm going to write about is cinematography again. I love the setting of this. I love the angles. I love the storytelling.
Yep.
We've got that actor walking down the corridor who's played it, creepy guys in lots of movies and TV shows, and I can't remember what the actor's name is, but the prison guard that comes into the cell and then gets shanked. Shanked. Got the terminology down now.
Shanked.
For me, loved where it was going with it. Music kicks in that first one. It has the production on this is great. This has got a classic Slayer sound for me. Whereas they do with like Diabolus and Musica and some of the other ones, God Save Us All,
Intervention.
They had slightly a Divine Intervention. They had moved away from some of their classic sounds. They had done different production. This feels like they went, we want to go back. We want to do something off of like South of Heaven or something like that, or Rain in Blood era. And we want to get that kind of separation of guitar tone, etc. And they went there and they got it for me. This sounded like a late 80s Slayer album-esque song, could easily have done it. But we're only talking about the first minute here. We haven't even got into the next minutes. But first impressions of the video, Andy.
Video, yeah, it is very well shot. And it's brutal, like the music. You know, I tuned out from Slayer, sort of South of Heaven era. You know, so the albums you mentioned, I've never heard and got real no intention of. But I was really, you know, so I was interested to find out which period it was from, because this was blistering. You know, really good. The video, yeah, the look of it to me is. I mean, I love the Punisher Marvel character, who's had films and TV series, but this whole prison fight scene reminds me, it's almost lifted directly from Series 2 of the Daredevil, where the Punisher is in jail and like this one, he's released from his cell by the guards to take on the entire wing, and he takes them all out one by one in this narrow corridor where the cells are. And there's blood, and it's a really well shot sort of sequence, and it's gory and bloody and brutal. And when I saw this, it reminded me of that instantly. But as a sort of old school Slayer fan, not liking more modern stuff, I was really impressed with the opening minute of this song.
Kirk?
One of the few times where I've made more notes on the video than the actual song, because you know what you're going to get when Slayer play fast. And it's a bit like, not quite ditto Head Standard from Divine Intervention, but yeah, I mean, I remember seeing this for the first time 2 years after it came out in 2017, because I went back through some of my Slayer albums, and it caught my interest, one, because it's Slayer, and two, because it's so fucking graphic and it's gratuitous violence. And you can, like, what is that Mexican-American actor from Con Air called who appears in this for the first time at 56 seconds?
Like Danny
Trujillo.
The guy, you know, in Con Air, he has, and I shouldn't be like smiling about this, he has tattoos of all these women that he's raped.
Danny Trujillo.
Really
Just keep saying Danny Trujillo till he accepts that it's called Danny Trujillo.
He's one of those, like, you know, if he could be typecast in a good way, he's going to be your number one. If you want to bring in a villain who could, like,
I think he's been in a few Tarantino films as well.
Yeah.
But
he's also a huge Slayer fan because he knows. I think he knows Tom.
Yeah,
is how, because Tom knew him. So,
but I mean, when you see him, you know that it's going to be quite an intimidating video. But yeah, I mean, musically, I agree. They've gone back to South of Heaven. No, South of Heaven's a bit slow. It's probably Divine Intervention, I would say. You know, you go your classic double timing beats.
But it's more. I was thinking more from a production separation point of view rather than necessarily the songwriting. But the songwriting's there as well. Yeah. Cool. Move on.
Do it.
Let's go to the next minute. Minute 1 to minute 2 for you at home.
Arrogant, violent, world of disarray. Dealing with insanity every fucking day. I hate the life, hate the faith, hate the fucking scene. Busy matching ego, fuck humanity. And got the time, I don't want anything from you. Feeding on my tolerance is all you fucking do. No looking back, no regrets, no apologies. What you get is what you see. Live fast. I'm high. Repentless. Let it ride. My stars relive the atrocities of war. Can't take society any fucking more. Intensity, anarchy, hatred amplified. Playing these sinners all that keep me alive. Leave it all on the road, living on the stage. This is my life where I kill it every day. So take a shot, bottoms up, if you know life. I've been leading this church up till the day I die. Live fast. On high. Wait,
Okay, this is where we get into like the first verses and stuff like this. So the riffs are basic. They are basic. Like, we weren't expecting it to be like the most virtuoso. It's basically that. It's not much. But they're
Blistering,
fast.
I'd call that.
Blistering.
Yeah,
But it's
good
fast.
Slayer
It's
riffs,
fast, it's intense. And I actually wrote it's a return to classic form for me. I mean, this for me was... It's everything that a Slayer fan of the 80s has been waiting for the last 20 years when they've written all the other albums in between, like where they did
like
the
me,
Atlas in Musica, Stained of Mind and stuff like that, where they went in new metal and they're like, can you just go and give us some classic Slayer, please? And that's what you got for that next section before the solos. Solos in the next section, but good classic Slayer. It's hard to really write anything other than that because you're like, it's Slayer. Tom's doing his vocals the way you expect. It's just like...
Regarding the vocals, because I am that guy who wanted to go back to classic Slayer and hasn't heard these sort of new metal-esque albums you described. I mean, I've noted down that his vocals to me sound like they're living in a higher register than perhaps the material I'm familiar with.
Yeah, he has. Strange that, isn't it? That later on that you would go higher.
And so that's a fair observation from me, yeah.
Do you not think...
I mean, just before we move on to you, I just want to say about the video. We've now moved outside the prison.
Yeah.
And the band are performing, and there's a crowd, escaped prisoners or whatever, but they've got a line of riot. Luckily, they've got a line of riot police in front of them, but unfortunately, fortunately, the prisoners are not seeing the huge gaps between the individually placed riot police with their shields. So if they wanted to attack the band, they could quite easily, but they seem to be...
Well, Slayer are so intimidating that they're scaring them off.
Yes, well, they're not scaring them off because they're trying to get to the band, but rather than go through the gap, they're trying to get through the prison guards with the riot shields.
What about at the beginning of Metallica's Set Anger, where it says, you know, if you're held, they've got to sign an insurance
And it's
policy
very
for held
interesting. So what
hostage,
St.
haven't they?
Angle was, what, 2001?
I think
I thought it was right.
two-
I fucking maybe
yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
So when I first saw this, I was like, have they shot it in the same prison? So I was like, this looks like the same prison that they used for St. Angle. St. Angle was San Quentin, I believe.
Was it? Okay.
This has actually been shot in a completely different... It was a women's prison they shot it in.
Oh, okay.
So they had to bus in all these blokes, these actors,
These
to
fucking
film.
bald-headed
Yeah, they
giants.
just basically bust them all in for a day to film this. They just shot this in a day. And I'm like, so what? My first video was like, it's a women's prison. So what do they do with all the women there? Was this like a cell block that was empty or... I don't quite understand why they would do that. Why not just use a male prison then? But fair enough, because they had to use all actors for everything, so they couldn't use actual real inmates, as far as I can tell, because they were being a women's prison anyway. But yeah, really interesting. Any other thoughts from you, Kirk?
Yeah, just to say, we mention it all the time, Slayer are just as influential to hardcore now as they are to metal, aren't they? Especially with the vocals, how he shouts, and most hardcore now, if it's not doing the, you know, the beatdown stuff, they're basically just sounding like Slayer with a bit of obituary in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, you know what to expect. It's all about the video for me. That's what keeps you on edge.
Let's go to the next section, which includes the solos. This is from minutes 2 to minute 3 for you at home. Okay, so Slayer solos. Slayer solos are never known for their subtlety. No one's ever gone up and gone, oh, do you want to know a really good, well-played technical solo? Go and check out Slayer. No one ever... It's fast, it's shred. We've always expected that. I liked the fact there was a back and forth on solo between Kerry King and Gary Holt. I liked the fact there was some harmonised leads as well. They both went into some harmonisation. I thought that was good. So dueling solos, harmonised leads, nothing subtle, just shred. Loved it. I can't find anything I didn't like about the solos.
Yeah, I like them as well. But one thing I did note is, I mean, I've always liked Gary Holt. I think he's fantastic. But his solo pisses over Kerry King's.
It does. He's a natural solo.
Is that fair to say? I mean, Kerry King goes first, and then does seem like a quite a short amount of time. Then Gary Holt steps up, and it's really good for me.
Yeah, they keep it short and sweet. It's a good trade-off, well thought out. Even Kerry King's, there's some tasty stuff that he's actually doing there, and he's famously said, and if it ain't broke, you don't need to fix it. That's when people used to criticise his solos. I think he's actually shown a bit more imagination there.
Yeah. Well, he had to step it up with Gary Holt playing against him. I don't really remember Jeff as far as solo works, and
he was better than King, I would say. Yeah, I mean, by the way, what do you think of that throat slashing scene in the spot at 1 minute 54? Fucking hell.
There's some brutal bits.
That is disturbing, isn't it?
Your friends lying on the floor, putting his thumb through somebody's eyeballs.
Oh yeah, that's near the end. He's gouging someone's eyes out.
Yeah, I mean, there's some brutal imagery in this.
Yeah. But it's a band called Slayer.
They're the right band for this.
Yeah, you're going to get away with that.
They write mean music. There's never any melody in it. You know what you're going to get. It's going to obliterate you. It's fucking Slayer, for God's sake.
Cool. Let's go to the end. So 3 minutes till the end, please.
Until you fucking do. No looking back, no regret, no apologies. What you get is what you see.
Okay, so literally, I mean, I've written just a couple of real basic notes here. It's like warp speed at this point. It's just frantic. That last couple of minutes of the song, you're just like, whoa, it's going for it. Tom Araya sounds freaking great. I loved his vocals in this.
His vocals.
But the thing is, you're talking about a guy, and what I love is around this sort of time, he also did loads of like YouTube-based interviews, and he is the funniest, jolliest person you'll ever meet. He just laughs through
He's a really
interviews.
nice guy, isn't he?
Ah! You're like, everyone goes, he's like a big heavy metal Santa.
Yeah.
So he's just really funny, and then he's like, he's got so much angst and so much venom in his delivery. But he's just so much fun as well. I loved it.
Imagine if someone did death metal vocals over there. You'd be bored, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
With him, because it's sort of this thing that he just shouts. Somehow it's quite tuneful as well. It just works.
There was an issue, I think, around like bass playing and stuff like that, where Kerry King had to kind of keep doing, because he's just like, he hated Tom Araya's bassing. He was like, but he's not a very good bass player. He obviously has to do it live, but on the albums, like Kerry King would go in and do bass lines and stuff and put the bass recordings in.
I can imagine they're quite simple, slow bass lines.
Even if you watch Tom Araya play it, he's just doing this.
Yeah.
It's not a great bass technique, but we don't really care. It's Slayer.
What about that scene where that giant bald-headed guy, he has someone who's about my size by the throat, lifts him against the wall, and he has this concealed knife in his pocket, and he just does him in the solar plexus.
It's just so many decapitated heads. It's like, there's just some brutal stuff in this, but it's great. I love the smile on your face. It's just brutal. There's a decapitated head. It's awesome.
It kind of, it does disturb me when you see these things, in as much as, you know, this is not like fantasy created for a music video. This probably happens and has happened in
Honduras, places like that. Yeah.
You know, when the prisoners take advantage of lapse in security and actually sort of overrun the prison and do what they want.
And decapitate their enemies.
You can imagine there being absolute bloodbaths going on in the prison system in this world.
Yeah, I just
Scary.
put final comment, is Slayer the one metal band that unites rednecks, incels, guitar nerds, and hardcore kids?
Quite possibly.
Incels should like Slayer.
There's a lot of people who know Slayer. Even if you're not metal, you will still go fucking out there intense.
Yeah.
So,
Keeping it
interesting. There you go, Slayer and Repentless. Now, if you enjoyed the video today, please do like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in another video sometime very soon. Bye-bye.